Morning, morning, morning. Morning, morning, Roxanne. Carol Bucco, Carol Myers, good morning. Alison Samuel, morning, Alison. Diane, morning. Judy, morning to you. Ian Glowden, morning as well. Christopher Sylvester, Trevor Carter Nelson, good morning. Jennifer Dorset, good morning to you. Donna Walcott, Rena Jennings, morning, Rena. John Edwards, good morning to His Excellency President of Pleasantville and First Lady. Good morning, Nigel. Angela Maru, good morning. Yes. Jade Impulse, good morning. Cecilia Civilian, good morning. Mercedes Burton, good morning to you. Phyllis Farrell, morning, morning all. It's time there, 6:32. So again, I'm not going to be long this morning because apologies for yesterday, but I have a transaction that I'm dealing with because I will be heading off on my short vacation, about 2 weeks. So a whole set of stuff to deal with before I jet out. So I will be out of the country for just a couple of weeks, but I intend to continue my lives as usual while I'm out. I'm not sure if I'll do it all 3 days, but at least 2 days I will be doing so. Yes, thank you so much, Rena. Yeah, always a pleasure to do the show with Wendell. Yeah, we had some good laughs last night to the Capital 7 and the Command 7. Karen Allsop, good morning. Lawrence Gibbs, morning to you, sir. Trying to see if I could pop across on your side while I'm out, but no guarantees. Depends on how things work out. David Tila, good morning to you. Thank you so much. Yes. Morning, Angie. I haven't seen Angie jump on yet, but you say morning to Angie. Bonnie Love, good morning. And Patricia McKenzie, morning. Patty Kuchu, morning. Good morning to Mother Tunapuna. Yes, well, I intend to have Wendell on, on a more regular basis as we go forward. So most likely while I'm out, he and Jenny will be hosting on my behalf. So they have the experience, they're familiar with the studio. So who better to do it than those two folks? Yeah, so let me just get quickly into it. Just a couple of things I wanted to touch on this morning. It's of time. I could probably go till maybe 8 o'clock. Yeah. So I've been checking out the Facebook page of Doglaya Politics. You all know that is Anil Roberts. And this is a man who loves to talk. In fact, he's not spoken much since local election. Last week, Monday, there was some swim meet taking place, and so for the last week, he's only been posting videos and pictures and posts about swimming and this swim meet. Now, I am certain if the results of the election had gone the way they were hoping it would have gone, notwithstanding the fact that Mr. Roberts was attending the swim meet, he would have found the time, if it's early in the morning or late in the night, to do a live, during the day, if he having lunch or whatever, to do a live to talk about Rowley Get Lakes and whatnot and stuff. He was one of the persons who was saying that the PNM was going to get a sound licking, we were going to get a good cocktail, and call the election now, Rowley, and you're bad, call the election now. Yeah, you're postponing the election because you're afraid the cocktail or they're going and get. Yeah, he was saying that. In fact, he was one of the strongest proponents for that. And obviously, he's not pleased with the results. And they shouldn't be, because as I made the point last night with Wendell, you fought an election based on general election issues. You show your hand basically for 2025, and it didn't work. In fact, it resulted in you getting less votes than you did 3.5 years ago, when you didn't have Gary, when you didn't have Jack, and you didn't have the endorsement and the support of the OWTU. So, in essence, we did have somewhat of a coalition for this local government election going there: OWTU, NTA, UNC, and, well, the latest addition to the political cemetery, the ILP. That didn't work. It did not resonate, the messages did not resonate with the population. And so it begs the question, going forward to 2025, what will their election campaign be based on? This is a golden opportunity for the PNM. In fact, if they do what is necessary for the next 2 years, the election of 2025 is theirs to lose. Okay? Because the UNC will be coming back with the same issues in 2025. They have nothing else they can talk about. Tell you about crime, so that is an avenue for the government to treat with. They tell you about loss of jobs, or the unemployment, high food prices, inflation, the economy, all of these things. Load up the Matic, knock it on them. That didn't work. It didn't work 2023. Jack is back, didn't work in 2023, and not going to work in 2025. So they play that card too soon. As you said last night, the PNM hanged their Jack. So that did. Gary got 16,000 votes. He was hoping to get 147,000 at least from the persons who supported the COP, who he feels is not supporting either the PNM or the UNC at this particular point in time. Now, he's supposed, Gary loves to boast that he is this great strategist, having served in the military and combat, and they teach you how to be strategic and all of these different things. And what is this? He says politics is war without firing a shot. He keeps repeating that. Yesterday morning he was on Slam 100.5 or something. So, but is to hear this man hubris. This man is hubris personified. He continues along the same line as if he's the greatest of anything that he does. He's the greatest. He knows all, how to fight, how to deal with crime, everything. He is perfect at. All right. So he said. So you were hoping to get 147,000 people at least who supported the Congress of the People in 2007. So therefore, your assumption is these people are just in the wind, on the fence. They don't support the PNM. They don't support the UNC. They are not motivated to support either of the two parties. So you realize, okay, there's a constituency of voters out there, a vote bank of at least 147,000 disenchanted citizens that I could get. Why would you possibly think that by throwing your hat in the ring and joining the UNC that these people would join you? If they're not willing to support the UNC on its own, if you're going to support the UNC with Gary, that making sense to you, and you thought that would have worked, right? Clearly it didn't. They get less votes, and you're beating your chest over 16,000, well, 15,000 and change, and you make inroads into PNM strongholds. Really? What inroads you make? If the PNM had been able to maintain that 161,000 votes, they would have destroyed the UNC. They certainly were not going to retain Grandy. Those two seats that we lost by small margins in San Fernando, 27 seats in one and 27 votes in one seat and 11 in the other, that those two seats at least would have gone to the PNM. So we have only ourselves to blame for those of us who, whatever reason. You see, but if it is you're upset and you just decide to sit down in a corner and say nothing, and you figure, well, all I'm going to do is just not vote, it doesn't help your cause, because you choose not to vote, and what has changed? The same things that you're upset about, the same things that would have motivated you not to go and vote will still exist. The better thing to do would be to try and find a platform where you could air your grievances and see how best the party could assist. And I can tell you, There are persons in the hierarchy of the party who are willing to listen and who are committed to working to improve that situation. The party is not tone deaf, contrary to what some people want to see. Right? The leadership is not tone deaf. In fact, I had a conversation last night with Wendell, and he would have alluded to it briefly last night. There are certain things on the horizon. So things are taking place in the background, not yet to be spoken about, of course, in great detail, but in due course it would be revealed. But for my discussions with, again, other persons within the hierarchy and so on, so things are happening. The party has noted the concerns of supporters, the concerns of members with respect to certain matters of performance, and that will be treated with going forward in the next 2 years. So there are a number of deliverables that will be coming on stream over the course of the next 2 years. We know there are a number of infrastructure projects that the government is currently working on, the highway to Toko, the road paving exercise, the construction of stadia, and all of these different things. So once these things come on stream in the next 2 years, then what is UNC supposed? What are they going to talk about? This thing about the PNM do nothing for the last 8 years, and this dotish question they always come in with. Tell me 5 things the PNM do in the last 8 years, or tell me 10 things the PNM do in the last 8 years. And when it is that you give it to them, all of a sudden they disappear. They're no longer willing to continue the conversation. You ask a question, you get the answer, and you're gone. No, engage us. Let us have a discussion. But no, all of a sudden they just disappear. They slither back into the disorderly hole that they came out from until another time. And they will appear on some other platform and ask the same dotish question as if they didn't get the answer before. And hoping that the person or persons who would have given them the answer before, not on this new platform. We're all over. And we intend to increase our numbers. And of course, as the supporters of the PNM continue to be educated and informed, not like what Ole is here on Saturday on 91.9, with these mocking pretenders who want to come and tell you, we are here to educate and inform. You can't educate and inform nobody when you yourself not educated and you're not informed. And these fellas, I don't know if it's still to other guys. I don't listen to that station anymore. In fact, it's been a while since I've listened to them. Just going from bad to worse. Other than Juliet and Mr. Ruka, I don't. And maybe sometimes if I get up early, because when I'm not doing my live, I sleep in late, unless I have early mornings like I did yesterday and I have again today. So, sometimes I would miss Sharon's and Bruce. But if the opportunity presents itself, then. But I make the point that information will be coming, on a wider scale, and therefore, so you all can have the information that you need when it is these dotish questions come up. So, like last night when I was going through the debunking Facebook page, and I saw this guy, Lucky Lal, asking this dotish question, what did Dr. Rowley say? The people of Trinidad and Tobago are stupid, answer the question and what? You come in on our platform to make demands and tell us to answer the question. How many times will we answer that question? That Dr. Rowley never said that. He never said that. And I'm going to try and see if I could find between today or tomorrow that particular speech so they could hear the whole thing. Where Dr. Rowley said, even when they hear that, they will still come and probably tell you it's Photoshop. And I'll be adding that piece where Dr. Rowley said the opposition UNC thinks that the people of Trinidad and Tobago are stupid. When it is that the cognitive dissonance is rampant in that party, that they so want to hold on to a lie. They can't accept that the leadership of their party is so intellectually bereft, so ethically and morally bereft, that if you present them with the truth and you show them the whole speech that Dr. Rowley gave when he made that statement, the opposition UNC thinks that the people of Trinidad and Tobago are stupid, you will have persons in that party who will come and tell Ole lie, Ole add on that. I know what Rowley say. I mean, the waterfront ilk. And these people could vote. These people have the right to vote. That's the hard thing. They could vote. What are they voting on? So I come to the issue of, as I raise that point, Adrian Ali, the UNC councillor. He's no longer a candidate. I think they had this swearing in ceremony yesterday for the Shogunas Borough Corporation. I don't know who the new mayor is. I haven't had time to see the information because I didn't see the news and stuff. I don't know if it's still Faik or if it's somebody else. So maybe you all could share with me. Adrian Ali, UNC counselor under police radar, allegations of death threats, harassment, common assault. And this is a story by Mark Bassant dated August 21st, 2023. So just 2 days ago. Over the last 3 years, 4 police reports have been filed against newly elected UNC councillor, or re-elected is what they should have, Adrian Ali. The allegations are threats against the life of a woman and her male companion, as well as harassment and common assault in which he allegedly drew his licensed weapon at the woman at her workplace in central Trinidad. Ali was re-elected councillor for the district of Monroe Road, Caroni, Savannah in last Monday's local government election. One of the alleged victims told the Express they had written to a top UNC member last year about the incidents and even sought the services of an attorney, but that no one, including the police, answered their appeals for assistance. In December of last year, a whistleblower submitted an email to several UNC members detailing these allegations, as well as another in August this year to UNC political leader Kamla Persad-Bissessar and Dr. Rhoda Amoila. Let me read that again. In December of last year, a whistleblower submitted an email to several UNC members detailing these allegations, as well as another in August this year to UNC political leader Kamla Persad-Bissessar and Dr. Rhoda Amoila. Before last Monday's election, the councillor was contacted by the Express several times by phone, and several questions were sent to him via WhatsApp. Voicemail messages were left for him to contact the Express or respond to the questions via WhatsApp regarding the allegations made by the man and the woman, but he did not respond. Efforts were made again to contact him several times after the election, but no response was received. Transparency and fairness. The police reports span from September 2020 to April 2023, since 2020. 3 years now, in which one of the alleged victims reported that my friend had been calling the police station in June this year, trying to contact the officers, as Ali had been calling my friend's work many times, but no one has contacted us to date, and my friend is very scared. However, a senior police officer in the Central Division who was contacted by the Express before the election about the situation assured that the matter will be thoroughly probed to determine why the police had slipped in their investigations into the police reports made against Ali. I will look into the matter and it will be actioned with urgency, he said. And the senior officer, who also spoke with one of the alleged victims earlier this month, told the Express that they will thoroughly investigate the matter involving all parties going forward to ensure there is transparency and fairness. Transparency and fairness, not justice. Transparency and fairness. Okay. One of the alleged victims, who the Express reached out to and who spoke on the condition of anonymity, stated that they had attempted to handle the problem through legal channels with their attorneys by filing a civil action against the councillor through his lawyer. But that fell through subsequently and things began to escalate once more. We all wanted this to end. We wanted him to stop blackmailing, and distributing private photos which he took surreptitiously. So in 2022, Ali's attorneys had drafted a non-disclosure agreement with a commitment to stop calling or threatening us, and we were willing to get this done and move on. So Ali's attorneys drafted a non-disclosure agreement, something similar to Daryl Smith. They had a lot to say about Daryl Smith's non-disclosure agreement, the supporters of that party. But here it is that we are hearing that this councillor, who was a councillor in the last session, drafted a non-disclosure agreement. They had nothing to say about it. One of the alleged victims said the councillor's legal side prolonged the non-disclosure agreement being finalized and delayed many times. My friend, who is the other victim, became fearful as legal threats were sent to her that she would face legal action for Ali's loss of opportunity if he was not selected to run in the election for the UNC, and then Ali's lawyers followed up with a pre-action protocol letter. So, threatened legal action if it is that word got out of what you allegedly did, pull in your gun. And if you would have lost out on the opportunity to be selected to come back and run for a second time, or third. I don't know if this is the second or third. I'm not surprised, because we always say one of the criteria to serve as a UNC councillor or a UNC politician is that you must have the propensity to be corrupt. And if it is that this individual can engage in this type of activity, leads you to ask the question, what else is he capable of? The alleged victim said the counselor's attorney, Samantha Singh Puna, then followed up with a pre-action protocol letter in March 2023, in which they indicated that both victims had discussed and disclosed details to third parties. The letter, which the Express obtained from another source, said, as such, there is no guarantee that your client, through herself and or her servants, shall abide or comply with the terms of any agreement. In this regard, our client is no longer willing to execute the agreement between the parties. And the letter by Singh Puna ended stating, nonetheless, it must be reminded that any disclosure of the contents of this matter to the general public and or further persons will result in the necessary High Court proceedings being instituted against your client without notice. Attorney Martin George, right, so the Express reached out to Singh Puna for comment on the matter but received no response, despite leaving a voicemail message on her cell phone and calling her office on August 10th and 11th. Attorney Martin George, who took up the matter late last year for one of the two victims from their former attorney, told the Express, we actually got Mr. Ali to a point where they would have agreed to certain things in order to put the matter to rest. There were deadlines and conditions they were to satisfy and would have given both our clients and the male victim peace of mind and assurance. However, to the best of my recollection, at the last minute, they reneged on that agreement. No comment from Kamla. One of the alleged victims said that during the legal back and forth, they had raised concerns about the counselor and the incident in an email to UNC MP for Oropouche West, Devendranath Tanku, and chairman of the party in August 2022, which the Express obtained. 2022, we are in August 2023. So since August last year, this situation was brought to the attention of the leadership of the UNC. Tanku responded on August 3rd, 2022, in an email saying, I have received an email from you making serious allegations against one Adrian Ali. I know that you have advised that you have contacted the police in this regard, which I believe is the proper course of action in the described circumstances. I have forwarded your email to the General Secretary and the political leader for their information. This is August 2022, 1 year ago. Unfortunately, I am out of the jurisdiction at present and will be out until the 14th of August. Please advise what further action you recommend that I take. The Express also obtained a detailed email communication between a whistleblower and opposition leader Kamla Prasad Bisesa and MP for Oropouche East, Dr. Rudal Munilal, regarding the allegations against the councillor. On Wednesday, August 9, the Express informed Prasad Bisesa about the allegations against the councillor, as well as the email contact Tanku had with one of the alleged victims. Mrs. Prasad Bisesa responded saying, please send the email you reference. Thanks. August 10th and 11th, the email was again sent to Prasad Bisesa asking for comment and informing her that the Express had been informed that one of the victims' prior lawyers had spoken to her about the matter last year and additional comment was needed on this. She has not responded. So let me repeat that. On August 10th and 11th, email was sent to Prasad Bisesa asking for comment and informing her that the Express had been informed that one of the victim's prior lawyers had spoken to her, Kamla, about the matter last year. Not this year, last year, before they held their screening exercise in which this individual would have been screened. So they had this information before them when they held their screening exercise and when Mr. Ali came before the screening committee. All right? She has not responded. Questions were also sent via WhatsApp to Dr. Munilal on August 10th, and though they were delivered and read as evidenced by the two blue ticks, he did not respond. This is the leadership of the UNC, right? Who want to tell you about crime? And crime under the PNM always goes up. When the PNM in power, crime always goes up, right? These are the same people who for the last couple months have been singing in our ears about stand your ground, telling us about load up the matic, knock it on them. Here it is that we are reading that since last year, Mrs. Prasad Bisesa, Rudal Munilal, Dave Tanku, and other members of the UNC executive who are aware of the situation with this particular individual, who has been re-elected as a councillor, is now sitting on the council of the Chaguanas Borough Corporation. A man, and I don't know if it is that they just love to have their politicians, their sitting politicians, before the courthouse. Like that is a badge of honor. Hey, what you going to do today, boy? Get locked up. What you going to do to get charged? But I have more charges than you. You feel you bad? I have more charge than you. Is that a badge of honor in the UNC? That is who have more charges or who could boast that they before the courthouse? Again, we make the point of all the political parties that ever passed through this country, the party that has the most number of politicians before the courts is the UNC. But the supporters always quick to talk about how the PNM so corrupt and corruption under the PNM for 60 years and all of that nonsense. They will never address this issue, right? So yesterday I saw the Doglaya decide to do his first live since the election. And the only thing he could find to talk about for a minute and some is about Rowley, answer this now, and your townhouse in Innesgate, because why? You're trying to deflect, to take public attention away from this situation where your political leader, no less, your political leader and the executive of your party is reported in a newspaper article as having been aware that this man would have used a gun, right? Would have potentially committed a crime. That they attempted to cover up this crime using a non-disclosure agreement, right? And I'm concerned because that attorney like Martin George, the man, based on the things here that we are seeing, pull a gun on people and threaten their lives. We're talking about making it easier for law-abiding citizens to get firearms should they come back into office in 2025. Now, if it is one of these victims who also had a firearm, let's say this is 2026 and this happens, in office, one or more of these victims has a firearm, we know somebody would have died. Somebody would have been in the mortuary, right? He's a law-abiding citizen. No? He went through the process, we assume. I don't know if it is he would have gotten this licensed firearm while Gary the Great was commissioner of police. And if it is, because if it is, you can have persons making reports to the Central Police Station since 2020, and nothing has happened. There has been no action taken against this individual. Right? It speaks volumes. So it tells me, or leads one to ask the question, if between, well, whether or not he went through the full process of getting his licensed firearm, right? All of the background checks and psychometric tests and all of these different things, because I would assume that since a report was made against him in the Central Police Station, that if he would have gotten this licensed firearm after 2020 or thereabouts, that should have been on file, that this man has a report against him with respect to. But anyway, whatever, right? Because he threatened, I don't know what was the situation, if it's the girl, is the ex or whatever. I don't know. But anyway, the point is the leader of the opposition was aware of this when this man came before the screening committee, right? And they still chose him. Munilal knew, Kamla knew, Tanku knew, probably Jolene knew, and whoever else knew as well. And I'm seeing a number of persons who would have tagged Khadija Amin, Vandana Mohet, this girl from Tabakit, Haynes, a whole set of them. It is alleged were also aware. And you all had this whole screening committee sit down there and asking this man questions, and nobody asked him, so tell us about this situation with this young lady or these persons who reported to the police that you pulled a gun on them and threatened their lives. Tell us about that now. Tell us about that. That question didn't come up. So all of them know, but nobody sought to ask him that question. What does that tell you? It tells you that in 2025, the caliber of people that they will be offering you as candidates for that election, right? That if they have information and willing to overlook something so serious and still put the person as a candidate, and you know that the person is in a safe seat, so they're going to win. So it tells you the mindset of this individual, but they have no problem putting somebody who's a potential criminal to sit down on a corporation as a councillor and oversee millions of dollars in expenditure, right? But they always wanted to, if it under the PNM, he couldn't even smell the corridors of screening. He know better than that. Yes, he said, don't even bother to recommend me because I don't know what it is already. Yeah? And the party groups would have known, well, forget that. You know, they may even give him the time of day. But in the UNC, oh, tell him come. He's eminently qualified to be a candidate. Oh, yes, in fact, he's at the top of the list. He's at the top of the merit list to be selected as the candidate. Interestingly, Mrs. Prasad Bisesa had no response. Send me the email again now. Remember the same time when Dominic Ali Prasad had called her with respect to the Room 201 video with Anil Roberts? Could you say that again? Could you tell me again? And Dominic Ali Prasad had asked, oh, you didn't hear me the first time? No response, right? But had this been a PNM counselor, she couldn't stop yapping, right? You would have a whole newspaper article for her to post up on her Facebook page where she calling for a police investigation, right? Where she calling on Keith Rowley and whatnot to answer to that. Douglaya wouldn't hear the and he. Yeah. He would have read out the whole article for me and would have heard what kind of thing. Not one word. In fact, when he put out his post yesterday, early, I checked and as I see it, I put the article in the comments and asked him, because he come on his live and bowling, yoo-hoo, Rowley, answer so and so. Well, I put in yoo-hoo. When we get in a live on this, no response. No response. Not one word. And we will hear nothing from him or the rest of them on this matter. Because the individual has already been sworn in as a counselor. So we know very soon there's a possibility you might read the article will change from UNC counselor under police reader or to UNC counselor charged with whatever is the thing. So he too has his badge of honor coming his way. Yeah? And they're proud of that. They're proud of that to say they hold the record for the most number of politicians before the court. So going all the way back from Mr. Pandey, even before he became prime minister, remember when he went into the election in 1995, he had some charges against him with respect to some sexual harassment or so on. And then the charges were dropped after he became prime minister. But come all the way down. Former Attorney General, the other former Minister of Local Government, the person of Dhanraj Singh, charged with murder. Number of ministers charged under the Piarco Airport matter. Brian Quaitum, Carlos John, this guy, oh gosh, what is his name again? He was in the PNM too, and then Russell Huggins, whole set of them before the courthouse, right? Under the UNC banner. 67 years of PNM. 67 years of PNM. And you only have one politician who is, if we say, legitimately before the court. And that is Marlene McDonald because of her circumstance with Calabar. Right? We had two others, Franklin Kahn and Eric Williams, who were unfortunate victims of UNC lies and propaganda. Because Dansam Dansuk, the letter that he wrote claiming that they were trying to extort money from him and trying to solicit bribes and whatnot, that Mrs. Prasad Bisesa came in the parliament and read out. No verification. She didn't take it to the police and ask the police to investigate. She come in the parliament and read it out. And then call on Patrick Manning to fire the two of them and call on the police for an investigation. Right? It was subsequently shown that these two men were framed, set up, and Dan Suk says UNC put him up to that. Okay? But they want to come and yap about email gate and Rowley come in the parliament and read out thing and accuse the prime minister and government ministers of wrongdoing. But years before, when your political leader did the same thing, caused two men to be fired, lost their jobs, to be charged and brought before the court, embarrassed in public, you all had nothing to say about that. That was something to applaud. And that was something to applaud. But then coming to what Emailgate and Rowley, this and Rowley. Anybody got fired with respect to Emailgate? Anybody make a jail? Anybody was charged? No. But Kamala come and read her letter, right? Cause Kuchu ran bacchanal. Cause two men to lost their work, embarrass the people family. They had criminal records and all of that. Why? Because she come with a piece of propaganda. But all you ain't gonna talk about that. No, that was good. That is okay. Yeah? Praise Kamala for that. That wasn't like Emailgate. No. No. That's the foolishness. And this is why we continue to tell you, when the PNM vote for the PNM, had nothing to do with race. It's because we remember all of these things that they did, that the supporters of that party and the membership of that party conveniently forget. And you will expect us to continue to support that when your political leader is, based on this article, has information. In fact, the executive of your party has information that one of the candidates that they put up, and they're so proud of, right, is now stands accused of threatening people's lives. with a firearm, a legal firearm. And they thought that it was a good idea to still allow him to contest the seat. So they couldn't find nobody else of caliber, nobody else of vote. It was a safe seat. They could have put anybody and win that seat. Anybody. You didn't need to put him back. But what this whole situation has been in the public domain for quite a while because the UNC cabal, right? That Facebook page, that profile, that always busting mark on the UNC, has been speaking about this for months. And in fact, the allegation was that the individual, that Mr. Ali, this is the allegation, this is what has been published, is that there was a particular financier in the UNC who was backing Mr. Ali, and that the financier made certain demands that if all they want me to fund the party and if all they want money to run all the election, put him back, right? Because if all they don't put him back, then forget that. Pipe turn off, no money. So for the sake of money, this is the allegation, that they were willing to overlook this whole situation of which they were aware since 2020, of which Mrs. Prasad Bisesa is alleged to have gotten information. And again, I say, had this situation been reversed and this was a PNM thing, they would have called a Sunday morning press conference calling on Dr. Rowley to respond as to whether or not he received that email with this information and if he was aware. But all of them now have PIP in the UNC. Can't take the tongue. They have nothing to say. But they are supposed to be the proponents of good governance and transparency and probity. This PNM government is so corrupt, but they have nothing to say. And hoping that the 9-day wonder would take place and in 9 days' time, everybody will forget about this. Until, of course, if the investigation show that the individual, and there is no reason to doubt that it happened, because if you have Martin Georges telling us that there was non-disclosure agreement to be signed and whatnot and all of that, basically you're trying to hush up the whistleblower, right? Which means that there is evidence, documentary evidence, to show that there were attempts to cover up this crime. So it should be a slam dunk case. He's supposed to be facing a magistrate soon enough. But in this country, we know how police investigations into politicians is going to take a year and a day. And in some cases, 9 years and a day, and counting. But the hierarchy of the party knew. But for the sake of a few dollars, for the sake of wanting to maintain a financier when they're suffering and hemorrhaging financiers, because nobody wants to dip in their pocket to give money to a losing party. In fact, there were so many financiers who were standing apart, waiting to see what the outcome of the local election would be for them to determine, is this a worthwhile investment? Has the UNC's prospects of 2025 improved? Clearly it has not. That you fared worse than you did in terms of numbers, 2,200 and 2,000 in 2019, as opposed to 173, and if you want to add Gary, 16,000. You still fall short of the 200 and 2,000. But Gary, with Jack and the OWTU at your side, that are weakening the PNM as they see, and unpopular PNM as they see, that suffered the loss of 30,000 votes from 2019, was still able to hold you to a draw of 7-7. And everything in your arsenal you pull out for this election, treating it like a general election, and you get your backside whipped. That the bloodbath that you had promised, the cocktail that you were going to put on the PNM, the frazzle that you were going to beat the PNM to, none of that happened. None of that happened. The PNM lost 30,000 votes. You won the popular vote, and they still hold you to a draw. I don't know how you could fool the average membership of your party, the Waterfront ilk, to tell them that bodes well for 2025, but the financiers, they're stupid. They didn't become wealthy based on taking chin up, right? So while you could feed the masses that and get them to support you in 2025, the financiers, So whatever little financiers, those who still willing to keep faith with the party, they have to hold on to. And even if that means turn a blind eye to wrongdoing, just to hold on to a financier, we will do it. So financiers are calling shots. The few that they have left are now calling the shots in that party. They're dictating the pace. And if they are able to do it when they're outside of office, then imagine what they could do when they get back in, if they get back into office. How much of your money, your taxpayers' money, right, would be going into bubble. as was the case between 2010 to 2015. Because once your win is payback time, we when nobody else wanted to fund all year, we were there. We remained in your corner. We continue to supply you. Okay? So time to pay the piper. And he who pays the piper, right? Anyway, those are you all would wonder. I wait to see if Mr. Mark Bassant is going to continue to pursue this matter insofar as it pertains to getting some level of commentary from Mrs. Prasad Bisesa, Rudal Munilal, and the others to whom he sent, because he made it a point to go deep with respect to Foster Cummins. Right? You went and dig up and get all kind of information and documentation and stuff to do a 4-part series on Mr. Cummins. So I asked the question, can we expect to see a 4-part series on Adrian Ali, Mr. Bassant? Can we expect to see that? Or is it that you just published this story once and that's the end of that? On to the next one. So that the UNC could have their 9 days. I ask him. Yeah, let me see now. This is something, since 2020, this case was made. Let us know how involved, investigate. There is information out there that this man is only still there because a certain financier who shall remain nameless for now, but if you're interested, or you could go and pull up UNC Cabal on Facebook. Those of you who are on Facebook, pull it up, and the information is there. You will see it. Yeah, you will see it. See the name and the name of the company and all of that, who made the demands that this individual remain as the candidate. And now councillor on the Shogunas Borough Corporation. Right? This man who like to brandish gun. Yeah, but give everybody gun. Make it easier for law-abiding citizens to get gun. So we could do that same thing. So when somebody get vex, you could go and do brandish it. Threaten them because you have weapon. But let's remember now, other people will have weapon too. So shoot out. There's a video circulating of a South businessman beating a girl in a Range Rover. Don't know how many of you would have seen it. It only came to my attention sometime last night. Right? So the video is about 9 minutes or something. So it's on the Facebook page of Elizabeth Williams, or Liz Williams, CCN TV6 reporter. So if you haven't seen it, it's there. You can visit her page and it's there. Where this individual, who is supposed to be some prominent Southern businessman, is beating up, pounding on this girl in the car, threatening her, right? In fact, he has 2 of his friends with him. I don't know if his friends, workers, henchmen, whatever. And he's calling on them to bring the pliers. Bring the pliers somewhere so I could take out her teeth, and bring the knife so I could mark her face. Apparently some lovers spat. Something so. Right? So somebody posted something where, now that the video has gone viral, the individual has now put out an apology to those who hold him in high esteem, and his friends and family, and so on and so on and so on. He's so sorry. But I'm saying, I don't know if he has a firearm. He's a prominent businessman. You would think he does, but he doesn't. Again, if he was willing to go so far, and it's only because the men refused to bring the pliers and refused to bring the knife, because the man seemed very serious. Because when he opens the door, he goes into the car, leans into the car, and starts pounding on the girl, and she crying, and he telling her, "What are you crying for? What are you crying for?" How can I think accusing her of being with some next man or whatever? It could have easily been ended in death if a firearm was present. I don't know if one was present, but I'm saying, based on what I saw, could have easily ended in death. But give everybody firearm. Give everybody. Now, this video is out there. This is evidence of an assault. I asked the question. It's on the Facebook page of a prominent news reporter. Is the police going to investigate this matter and proffer charges against the individual because you have video evidence of an assault in taking place? Now, you see, we want to blame the government and blame the minister for the state of crime. I keep making the point. First point of contact when it comes to crime fighting is the police. Here it is, we have this situation with Adrian Ali, where it is alleged that several reports, at least 4 reports were made to the police. Nothing was done. Nothing was done. And so now we have a senior officer has to investigate as to why nothing was done. We have this situation with this video circulating. It is there for all and sundry to see. So what is the process? Will the police now approach this individual because he has confessed he has put out a statement on his Facebook page apologizing for what took place, and that, he don't know what got into him and why he did it and what. Anyway, you confess. That doesn't absolve you. The Lord will say, well, okay, you beat up the girl, confess, and then make an apology, and that's the end of that. I guess she too, they have to find out if she wants to press charges. But nevertheless, I would think if a man threatening to pull out your teeth with a pliers and mark your face with a knife, you would want to press charges. But we know how these things go. But there is evidence there of a crime having been committed. Is the police going to act on this? So when these things happen and the police do act, we want to blame the minister. Because these things have a potential to escalate. I don't know who the girl is, but some family member probably seeing that, say, well, who is this man beating up on my sister or beating up on my cousin or whatever it is, and decide to ride for him. That's how things happen. That's how things happen. Right? Somebody seeing that and vexed because that is their family member, and they do and they don't do like the man head, okay? Don't like how he treat girl and whatnot and stuff. And I'm seeing this. These are the things that could anger people. But let me give everybody gun. And the next thing, you hear the man body found somewhere, and we don't know who do it. But make it easier for law-abiding citizens like Adrian Ali to get a firearm. And that will solve the issue of crime. No strategies to deal with an increase in the detection rate. No strategies whatsoever to deal with those things. No, let me just give everybody gun, and that will fix the problem. Yeah. And we will kill each other until, right, everybody who have licensed firearm dead, and then, right, we go back to the way it was before, regulated, more strict regulations with respect to the issuance of firearms. I did say I have a short time. There's one thing I wanted to touch on as well. Let me see if I get this here. We continue saga of that's not. I'm gonna get this here. Where did I see this? Put this thing on here. I wanted to play a quick clip from Vanna Cole, who would have been supporting the PDP for the election in 2021. In fact, he would have appeared on at least 2 platforms extolling the virtues of the PDP, Watson and Farley. When those of us who are haters, PNM haters, we hating on the PDP, when we were telling the people, beware of the PDP. The THA is not the PSA. Let's tell we fasten out that place, keep out of Tobago business. We're telling all that is not going to end well. So let no want to listen. Get this here. Right. Now, I don't know what is Vanessa's motive for the things that he has been saying. Needless to say, I don't know what his motive is. I don't think he would have in any position with the current THA, notwithstanding the fact that, as I said, he would have appeared on platforms for the PDP. I think Winsford didn't. But Winford get work. Remember he get work as he was supposed to be the chairman or the deputy chairman of Spell, and then because of the link with his brother Trevor James, they put him on some other board. But anyway, he get work, so he collecting our pay, he eating our food. So all over the place, but they're still calling him now to give commentary on election for him to talk about the PNM. And make bold to say on election night, I think, based on what we are hearing in San Fernando, that the PNM has lost San Fernando, and by extension, the election. And it appears that the UNC has made headway and made inroads into PNM territory. Yes, and I make bold to make that prediction that the PNM has lost San Fernando and the local election. And then about 10 minutes later, they had to give him a cup of water to swallow his size 12 shoes. Having put his foot in his mouth, having to come back. Well, updated information, it appears that I may have been wrong in my prediction. Really? We could have told you that even when he was making the prediction. But you so want to jam the PNM for whatever reason, where you may get another one suffering from didn't get. Right? So I'm going to play Vannas for you. I'm going to turn this up here. It's a short clip.
Switching to politics, a prolific economist had harsh criticism of the present administration of the THA. Chief Secretary Farley Augustine and his team were elected under the PDP banner, but after public disagreements with its leader Watson Duke, they broke away. On Sunday, 15th August, the newly formed Tobago People's Party, TPP, was officially launched. However, their reincarnation into a new party was not enough to impress Dr. Vanus James. It's more.
Economist Dr. Vanus James continues to be disappointed by the performance of the Falia Augustine-led THA.
This is easily the worst government we've put in power since 1980.
He is more bothered by the inability to address the matter under the present constitutional arrangement.
I mean, this business of getting in trouble with the law and all that sort of stuff. You've never seen a government like that.
Dr. James explained that the THA should pattern the United Kingdom's government and how they handle leaders who fall out of favor with the population.
As it is now, Fali could hold his secretaries to account, but nobody could hold him to account unless we go to an election.
Among the issues Dr. James has with the present administration is their adversarial relationship with the central government. He believes that due to the absence of a meaningful dialogue and negotiation approach, Tobago is grappling with numerous issues, including challenges related to the air bridge.
You could say under the THA, you could say, look, the central government is putting $400 per trip. We're going to add 200 out of our budget. So you can't say the flights are not commercially viable. You have the right to intervene if that is critical to the development of the tourism sector.
He added that Augustine's administration lacked data-driven policies to advance the development of Tobago.
It is a good policy made by the legislature, good law made by the legislature, having heard from the people properly, to restrict and constrain and contain the policies that the Executive Council and the Public Service would want to make.
Even though the THA is currently engaged in the public through a series of town hall meetings, Dr. James stated it is not enough to develop proper policies. As a result, he is doubtful that the TPP would be successful in any future elections. Candice Jackson, Tobago Updates Television News.
While perusing, he is doubtful that the TPP would be successful in any future elections. What's the next election we have? General election of 2025, followed by THA election. All right? Fali has already indicated that they intend to pursue the 2 seats in Tobago, which would be critical in general election 2025. So notwithstanding the work that the PNM has to do in Trinidad, there's work to be done in Tobago. But if Fali continues to fall on his sword, I wouldn't want to risk to say it's a foregone conclusion what the outcome is going to be. I think the 2 current candidates we have should be able to hold their own. And those persons in the PNM who you see, from the general election perspective, Tobago is just like Trinidad. When local election come, PNM people don't really support that. They do come out and vote. But when general election, they come out in their numbers. We saw it again in the general election of 2020. PNM would have gotten over 16,000 votes in the general election. But for the THA election, which is akin to the local government election, they got just over 12,000 votes. And they saw a loss of some 4,000 votes from what they would have gotten in the general election just a year and some earlier. Now, if those 4,000 persons, and I don't think those 4,000 persons went across to the PDP, right? If even half of that had come out for that THA election, the outcome would have been different, especially in seats where Ansel Dennis would have lost by, I think, his 3 or 4 votes. Tracy Davidson Celestin would have lost by, I think, 70-something votes, where the margin was extremely small. So if 2,000 more people who had voted for the PNM in the general election in Tobago had come out in the right places, if 20 out of that 2,000 had come out for Ansel, he would have been sitting in the chamber. He would have been an assemblyman. If 100 out of that 2,000, I'm saying the whole 100 out of that 2,000 had come out for Tracy, she would have been sitting as an assemblywoman in the THA and in other seats, because I don't think in any other seat the margin of victory was so huge to say by 300 and 400 votes and the like. Maybe you might have had 1 or 2 like that, but for the most part, it was 100, maybe 150. So the votes were there now. The votes were there. It's just the people didn't come out because I don't know what is this syndrome that PNM supporters suffer from, that we don't treat all elections the same. And something needs to give with respect to that, right? We need to understand why we need to change that whole mindset and treat all elections as being important. Yeah, I mean, okay about the popular vote, but at least we need sufficient numbers to come out. And I maintain again, if that 30,000, if even 15,000 are that 30,000 people who would have voted for the PNM in 2019 and who didn't show up last week, Monday, if even 15,000 of them had come out, we needed just 12 of you all in that seat with Marcus Gidari. And we could have taken that seat from the UNC. That was a seat that the UNC held in the last term. But for the want of 12 votes, 12, we could have taken that seat from them. And they would have had nothing to boast about there. Miss Mary Show. But for the sake of 28 votes, that seat should have remained in the hands of the PNM instead of the UNC now being able to gloat that Macamillion win that seat after 21 years. After 21 years, for the sake of 28 votes, 28, come on now, man. So I listened to Vanos, saying this is the worst government in Tobago since 1980, since the inception of the THA, the worst. This is the same Vanos who was backing the PDP. This is the same Vanos who was singing for them, not literally, but not only appearing on their platforms to speak to their supporters, to rally support, but was making the rounds on television and so on, social media, arguing a case that this is good, that the PDP today, less than 2 years later, he's singing a different tune. Less than 2 years later, this is the worst. So you who have all of this knowledge as an economist, Vanos, a man of letters, you couldn't see that? And those of us who don't have letters were saying that same thing? But the media always calling Ole for comment. Yeah? Always want Ole 2 cents. And the people who saw that from a mile off, the people who didn't even need binoculars to see that, we didn't need to take flambeau to see that. We were telling Ole that was a disaster waiting to happen. Vanos couldn't see that. But he needed, it's not now he's singing that tune. It's quite a few months now he's singing that. It didn't take long for him to realize after they came into office, right? But the rest of us were seeing it before. Well, later we keep out of Tobago business all too fast. We don't want all here. Well, okay. So I do understand how Vanos could be seeing that, but Winford is seeing it. Well, no, I take that back. I understand why Vanos seeing it and why Winford not seeing it. And the rest of them who bright, who the media always run into because they holding doctorate, doctor this and doctor that. Yeah, so them bright. Their opinion is superior to everybody else's because they holding a doctorate. That's why Winford had to eat his size 12 last week Monday. Yeah, probably still choking on it, still trying to digest it. Look, anyway. Folks, 7701763. Roxanne says, don't blame the voters. The Marabella situation is bigger than us. The heads didn't listen to the outcry of the voters, just like with Gypsy. I hear that, Roxanne. I hear that. Which Marabella situation are we talking about, though? Is it the one with Marcus Gidari or Miss Marisha? Debbie says the people who vote for Macamillion will catch the royal. They're going to run by Marisha for help, and she should run the. Debbie here making joke this morning. Debbie, that mixing matters. Tell it like it is, Debbie. There says Vanessa and them there's the problem in this country. UNC is a new paving company in TT. From now on, address them as inroads. Please and thanks. We hear that said. Wanting to add a sister. Yes. Debbie says those James brothers eat. They are dogs. Trevor James is known as a crook. And they have a guy there named Kenneth. And he and all is a crook. Right. Norris just is asking, can anyone in Tobago challenge the legitimacy of Farley and the TPP and the THA and force them to call a fresh election? Unfortunately, not. So, based on the way the situation is set up, Fali is the only man who has the power to dissolve the THA and call the election. And if he decides he's not going to do that until 2025, which more unless he finds himself in handcuffs, but even then he's not obligated to do so. I think unless he's convicted, then I think under the Representation of the People's Act, it presents a different situation. Nigel says they're already running by her for help. Is that right? Macamillion didn't know anything about local government and the media exposed him before the elections. Right, so Nigel is saying that the folks who voted for Macamillion are already running to Ms. Maricho for help. Well, you see, and again, that is when we just vote for people based on name and popularity. Right, so this is Macamillion. I don't know his music. You see, bring his sister who seems to be a pastor, and she come and she preach, and yellow is the code, and blue is the code. I know she went up for Miss Trinidad and Tobago some years ago. I remember that when she was a much younger woman. How she ended up in that mess, But anyway, but I take Debbie's point. Is it Debbie or Roxanne? Roxanne. Yeah. I don't know the intricacies of that area with respect to that situation, but I imagine it was a candidate issue that Roxanne is referring to. And maybe that is something that the PNM needs to be wary of going into 2025. Candidate selection is very important because you can lose support based on not listening to the people as to who they want for their representative. And this habit of foisting people on candidates on voters will not work. So then is saying he's a total dunce. And I'm guessing this is Macamillion. Well, I would have played the interview that he did with the media. I could tell you, I don't know, it's a shame the UNC and its minions are shame of their party. And the only thing they think that would erase that shame is for once Kamala beat Dr. Ravi. That is so true. That is so true. Let me see. Just already sorry about that vote, but it's not JJ Maricho who lose. It's the electors. Interesting. I wonder if I could get Ms. Maricho to come on the real issues. I'll try. Sedana says he knows nothing. His sister is a former beauty queen playing pastor. It all comes down to money, and the UNC probably give a good offering to her church for her to pay. Okay. If this is a local election, UNC coming out so nasty, we have to be careful 2025 because some people so dotish, especially the waterfront, they think so she'll have passed the law already. Stand your ground. Yes, 7701763 is the number you can call. As I said, I have to jump out just now, so I could probably take about half an hour of your calls. But that is right, correct. Macamillion could not even answer a question on Pastor's show. Yeah, but you see, I raised the issue about the caliber of people that you're offering as candidates. And it shouldn't just be, you known in the area, everybody know you're popular. So therefore, that means, right? Let me just get this here. Just get this here quickly. Hello, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Dominic. How are you?
Morning, sir. I am good.
Yeah, man. I'm trying to listen between you and Ms. Sharon this morning, but you have good contribution, good program.
Yes.
Yeah, no. Dominic, boy, I know it's a hard, long winding road that you, Sharon, Julia, Mr. Aruka, Pastor Google, whatever, really had to, they're trying their best,
Mm-hmm.
But that amount of disinformation, boy, it is very, I don't know, boy.
Yes.
They could drown in it. Right? Because they have their so-called blogger that is very, very young, and they have the audacity to come on your platform to give your talks.
Yes.
It's very fast and out of play, particularly on Synergy. I see some of them was giving you to when Mr. Rosie was on your program last night.
Yes.
But let me tell you something, yeah? I told you some days ago that don't be surprised if you're going to see more by-election down the road, yeah? Because it's not only Mr. Adrian Aria alone, yeah? There's a set of them. Remember, there was somebody who was accused of sexual impropriety down Princess Town side.
Yes.
And he get elected too.
Yes, I saw the WhatsApp messages.
Yes. There's a smart man allegedly, a person who get elected for Felicity. They say he's a smart man too. Despite the fact of this gentleman, well, you say he's a religious fella, talking people don't vote for him because he's a smart man.
Yes.
Then there's another smart man who was elected for Bronte. So there's a lot of smart women in that corporation.
Yes.
I see they starting to protest again.
Yes.
I hope they don't harass Mr. Sananan because right now it's the corporation work now. So central government has no part in that thing. So anybody who protesting right now for roads will protest in front of the corporation office. And the next thing too, this, you're from Pamenta, Mr. Jack, we're talking about capital 7 and common 7. That is the worst kind of mathematics I've ever heard in my life. So if he say that, I guess 2 plus 2 is 5.
Yes.
and 1 plus 1 is 11.
Kamlamatics.
Now the 2 plus 2 comment, it comes from a thing called 1984, Austin Wells 1984, read it up. Where the more you tell a lie, the more truth it is. That is why I say 2 plus 2 is 5. So first time I hear about capital 7 and common 7, that is madness, boy. But you keep on doing your good work. I know I hear you say going on holidays.
Yes.
Wish you all the best.
Thank you.
You know, take care. And I hope that you really interview somebody. I would like you to interview Ms. Marisha and Mr. Gedari.
Yes, I will.
Because, I think they can still do a contribution to San Fernando side.
Agreed.
Who knows, they might win the seat again. You have a good day.
You too. So, just get this here. Hello, good morning. Mr. Yates, go ahead.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, sir, morning.
Yeah, I don't know if you are hearing me.
Yes, I am.
Okay. I don't know if the sister was any beauty queen, but what I do know as fact is that 10 years ago, there was a by-election in St. Joseph, and her brother, the clown on TV on afternoons, he went up for UNC in that by-election. And Errol Fabian went up as an independent. And that was the first time that Terence Dayal Singh won that St. Joseph seat. He won that seat and has won it about 2 or 3 times since then. But the point is, as you were saying, you want to know why the media interview certain people.
Yes.
The media go, they seek after people for opinions which are consistent with your own political prejudices. That is what it is. Whether it is friend or foe, whether the person is knowledgeable on that particular issue or any other issue,
yes,
they go to that person for what they consider to be an informed opinion. But it's really an opinion based on prejudice.
Yes.
It's an anti-government, pro-UNC prejudice that you get in there. I mean, look, let's face it, a character like Ralph Marad, he's just an actor running up and down the stage in Naparima Bowl playing Hamlet. And he was a former foreign affairs minister. He has no formal training in economics. But he goes about in the Sunday Express talking at large about economy and oil and shale gas and this and that. Ralph Marad knows nothing about energy. How come the media have never interviewed somebody like Gregory Maguire, who only recently, a couple of years ago, retired as a lecturer in energy economics? Energy economics. You notice they have never interviewed him? They have never interviewed him. This is an expert in energy and energy economics.
Yes.
But they have never interviewed him. No, but they're going behind people who don't have one iota of knowledge or experience in that area, and they seek what they feel is informed, classified views on that particular issue. And that's what they continue to do. Every time you open your paper, there's Ralph Maraj, there's Ralph Maraj. Ralph Maraj was a teacher. He was an English literature teacher. Full stop. And that is the level of tomfoolery and ignorance we have in this country. I mean, when you think of a fella like Vanus James.
Yes.
Vanus James appeared on the platform of the 2 elections in Tobago over the last year and a half, endorsing Duke and Augustine.
Yes.
Winford James, for instance, when they were offering themselves for leadership of Tobago, Winford James described those 2 fellas, Duke and the inexperienced and fast Fally Augustine. He described them as rising stars. Imagine a man on about 4 charges of criminal conduct, one of which happens to be rape. You describing him as a rising star? These fellas, I conclude by saying, these fellas have done a body job on the simple minds of the ordinary Tobago man and woman. And as for the Tobago man and woman, let me just say this. You should be ashamed of yourself, especially the men and the men. You have wives, you have daughters, you have granddaughters, you have nieces, you have daughters-in-law. You are going to stain your finger for a man on a rape charge. And we have known that since 2016 when he was charged, 7 years now, and you keep voting for that man all the time. I have no sympathy for Tobago. They look for what they get. And if Fally and those people continue bleeding the treasury, the Tobagonians look for that. Because when he gets in trouble, when like Zorisha in trouble now, I would like to know who is paying their legal fees. Is it coming from Zorisha and Fally's pocket? Or is it coming from the budgeted money for Tobago from the national budget? I would love to know. Thank you very much and good morning.
Thank you, sir. Very good questions indeed. That needs to be answered. Right? So let me just get this here. Because I saw where Faith Be Israel has said, the line has been drawn in the sand. It's either you're for Tobago or you're against. So there is no in between. It's either you're for Tobago, and if you're for Tobago, that means you support Fally and the TPP. And if you're not for Tobago, you are against, and you're supporting the PNM and everybody else. So, you know, it reminds me of the 10 Commandments movie when Moses was up Charlton Heston and he came down with the 10 Commandments and he said, "Who is on the Lord's side, come to me." And those who came and he rest and he fell down the tablets and he said, "If you will not live by the law, you will die by the law." Yeah, so apparently that is the law now in Tobago. So it's either you're for Fally or you're against him. You are, if it is that you criticize his policies or his posture and his position, you are seen as being an enemy of Tobago. Yeah, so Fally is perhaps the Tobago equivalent of Gary Griffith, the greatest of all times. Vanessa has a different perspective. Right, let me see here. Hello, good morning. Hello. Hello, good morning.
Morning, Dominic Rumi.
Brian, morning.
Fantastic show with the goodly gentleman last night.
Wendell, yes.
Yes, Mr. Eversley.
Yes.
And I know you couldn't help yourself when he said he's been up the election.
Yeah.
It was hard to contain yourself.
Yes.
But you better save that $5,000 for other more important and developmental issues as far as he and his family is concerned. You know, rather than give it to the EBC.
Correct.
Because I don't know which constituency he is proposing to go up to or go up for. Yes. And under which banner.
Right.
Right? It can't be the corps. I don't know, although he loves the corps, but that is up to him. It's his money. But I think his narratives are very, very instructive, and his ability to remember certain things that many of us would have forgotten. I really appreciated a lot that he said last night.
Yes.
As well as yourself. Dominic, I want to tell you this. And the people of Trinidad and Tobago, you see, many of us don't learn and we forget very easily and we move on because just now could be Carnival, and Christmas, Carnival, and so on, and we forget.
Yes.
But many of us must remember that 2025 is not very far away.
Correct.
When you have your first caller, he reminded us of so many people being elected who have a lot of questions to answer before the law. And I am simply saying this, that if those people are not being called to answer after so long, you see, our police service and our DPP takes so long to do investigations and to reach a conclusion and bring it before the court.
Yes.
Look at how long this Adrian Ali has been doing what he has been doing and getting away with it to the extent whereby now he is now a counselor. Dealing with millions of dollars coming very shortly into his hands. And what has the police done? They're investigating, but how far has the investigation gone? Now you have an investigator to investigate why the investigation didn't reach anywhere.
Yeah.
Where are we going with this? And that is my concern.
Brian, in there? Hello?
You're draining, coming down in your house and all these sorts of things. We need to call people to book. And if I have a party and I am seeing people doing things and getting away with it, but then I go vote them in because I know there's no consequence to what they are doing. And that is the issue. If there's no consequence, and I'm laughing all the way to the bank, and people can do certain things and get away with it. But no problem, because you know why? I will still get 175,000 votes. I will still get more votes at the PNM. I may not get more seats, but I gain more votes. Because we have used issues why not to vote, and the UNC people come out and vote irregardless of whatever the issue may be. Because why they are voting for party. We wait for an excuse not to vote, and that is our problem. But we have work to do, and I want to say it, and I have a lot more to say, but our senators who sit along there, I believe because they're not members of parliament, elected by the people, believe that they're not supposed to come out of the ground, or they get up over their backsides and get on the ground and help out the MPs, those who have been voted in, like Minister Stuart Young and others, to do the work on the ground, because that is where the work has to be done. We can't just sit down on our backside and say, okay, well, yeah, well, we know certain things in train and this, that, and the other, like what Brigade said on last Saturday on a particular station, and leave it like that. There's a lot of work to be done, and we need to get up and get going yesterday, and not wait until 2025 January to begin to work. Can I start? We are seeing it before our very eyes. A lot of people have questions to answer on what is happening. Nothing, absolutely nothing. To make a big hullabaloo about Piarco about what happened in Piarco, the fiasco with the pilot and so on. And they will drag that and drag it as far as they could go until they move on to something else. But there are other issues to be dealt with that are very, very serious. We're talking about women being abused and so on. What is going to happen to Adrian Ali? What about the one that Elizabeth Williams has on her profile? What's going to happen to that individual? Is anything being done? He should be arrested already. We should be hearing at the top of the line news this morning. But we keep talking about what the government doing to protect our women. And look at who abusing the women. Is anything going to be done? Because you have a Range Rover, maybe?
Yes.
Or you're a big businessman? Is that the qualification for leaving it alone? When are we going to open our eyes and see, listen, there's one rule for one set of people and another rule for another set of people, and accept it, especially if you're poor and you have 2 joints in your pocket. We have to open our eyes and see what's going on. Otherwise, we could be in trouble. I thank you very much, Dominic. Have a good morning.
You too, sir. Thank you so much. We take another couple quick ones. Yes, I wanted to touch on that Carl issue, because to me, I mean, they're trying to draw blood out a stone, because you have international airlines since old time now, since December, and stuff like Spirit Airlines, was this other one, JetBlue, and all of them who canceled tens of thousands of flights last year in the US. It happened again this year and so on, and we're making this big now, but nah, man. Everybody had to put in their 2 cents. I think the Secretary for Tourism in Tobago has some interview this morning about that. Really? Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Dominic.
Morning, sir.
I have to tell you, if Dr. Roddy moved like one of those super strong men from Singapore and shut down the airline and telling people to go back to work, they will call them Mugabe and stuff like that.
Yes.
Right? Look at the difference with Singapore. As Singapore, Prime Minister President will never tolerate that nonsense. What took place at Cal will never think. And who said it was under somebody like Vladimir Putin or the gentleman across from Venezuela said it. People would have met at jail.
Yes.
Or think, I don't mind if they privatize that, I think that because sometimes you don't know reading it and they think. Another thing too, that story with Mr. Adrian Ali and other councillors that came up with the COD administrator of Cabal page, It was the Cabal that brought out that information, and nothing was done about it. Do not be surprised, Mr. Romain, that the police are dragging their feet on this case, because everybody knows that they are human and certain policemen have their political biases. So do not be surprised too. Another thing with the TPP and Mr. Fali. Have you taken a look at the logo?
No, I haven't.
Well, if you look at the logo of the TPP, to me, I don't know about you, but somebody brought out to my attention that it has a face. It looks like a face. And if you're familiar with a show called V for Vendetta.
Yes, I am.
With the Guy Fawkes. Do you know who is Guy Fawkes is? That is the gentleman who tried to blow up the parliament many years ago in the 17th century. He was executed for treason and anarchy. Watch the Guy Fawkes mask and look at the logo of the TPP. It does look like a face. And see if there's any similarities between it. Maybe it's unintentional, maybe the designers probably didn't see it.
Yes.
But I am seeing it. It looks like just a face. I don't know about it, but there's a lot of high science in that thing. It looks like a face. It has a face.
Right.
Take a time, take a look at it and read up who Guy Fawkes is. Look at the mask.
Okay.
V for Vendetta. Thank you.
Thank you. Interesting perspectives there. Thank you. I could probably take one more call and jump off at 8 o'clock. To confirm my guest for this evening. If not, if he's unavailable, then I guess, well, we'll see what will play out. I'll have to call on Jenny, or I will give you all an opportunity this evening to call in to the program and say your piece. Brian. Hello.
John, Dominic, sorry.
Yes, sir.
I want to tell you one more thing about this Carl thing issue.
Yes.
Because you mentioned JetBlue and others. But this is important because you see, there's a lady who came on who gave an interview on, I think it was TV6, I believe it was. A lengthy interview. She was a customer coming from, I believe it was Tobago. And she had to go back to Canada or something like that. I can't remember if it was Tobago Piaco.
Right.
But she says that she is so
hurt and disappointed that she would attempt to blacklist Carl. Now, I don't know what authority or powers that she has, but she just seems to be a normal, ordinary young lady who was just disenchanted with what had transpired with respect to the pilot issue and so on. But I would have asked her that if she's aware that there's industrial action in Canada with respect to Air Canada cancelling their prospective flights to Piarco International Airport from, I think it's either November or December.
Right.
Because of the pending industrial action. Nobody asked her that.
Yes.
But that was something that was on the cards. But now it has been cancelled. But nobody asked those type of questions. Air Canada is a big international airline carrier. That would have done wonders for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. But that has been cancelled. But nobody asked no question about that.
Yes.
They're talking about Carl. Because they want to see Carl fall. You understand? And Munila getting up there in a normal grandiose chair and talking and asking sort of questions about Carl and this and that and the other and what the Prime Minister doing and this and I mean, come on. Are we going to let this country fall because one or two people just decide, hey, here what's going on? I've been a news. And the issue is that position is a position whereby you're not allowed to strike. I can't remember what the word I can't remember the words.
Yeah, the essential services.
But thereby you have people doing what the hell they want. And it's okay. You understand? But
Yes.
I thank God our courts are very, very cognizant of exactly what is going on and did the right thing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. So on that note, let me thank you all for joining me this morning. As I said, I have to leave early, but it's always a pleasure to be with you guys and just to share some thoughts on what's happening in the country. So I'll confirm with you all tonight, tomorrow morning's live, depending if I get all of my stuff sorted out today, hopefully, finally. So Roland says Tobago people voted for self-governance without understanding, with annual expenditure of over $700 million and with a little over 65,000 citizens. I would love if someone can explain. See here. Right, if someone can explain how on earth the THA can survive without central government and taxpayers of Trinidad. It continues to disrespect Trinidadians and the Prime Minister, Dr. Rowley, and I would like to know where 65,000 citizens will get $10 million plus each. So let me just take this last one quickly. Hello, good morning.
Morning, Dominic.
Morning, sir.
I want to share my experience. I think Ronald Reagan,
yes,
set the example on pilots. I think that was my first Caribana. I was in New York. I had a 1-entry visa to Canada. After the Caribana, and I enjoyed myself with I forget the band from Tobago, Steel Band. On way back, the air controllers strike, American Airlines strike in America. Reagan fire. For 2 years we in the airport later on. We didn't know what to do. Money running out, we only on coffee and donuts. And then Reagan first shot was fight everybody and bring in the army. And if you hear that hurrah, when that news come in the airport, people start to dance, like everybody turns Trinidadian. So that is the example of use the strong arm when essential workers decide to break the law.
Thank you, sir. Yes, we will chat on that further. So thank you again. Join me this evening on The Real Issues with Dominic Romain on Synergy TV. We'll continue the discussion, and of course, if I don't get a confirmed my guest confirmed in time and said we'll either give you the opportunity to call in, the rare opportunity to call in and share your views, and please take advantage of the opportunity. If we should decide to go that way, because it's not often, as I said, there are certain challenges in the studio where once I have a guest, it's difficult to be able to take calls because the guest would not be able to hear what the callers are saying. So that's why I don't take calls when I have a guest. So any rare opportunity that I don't have one, it's your chance for you to be able to call in and make a contribution. Yeah. So each other again this evening. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Have a productive one. And yeah, I'm out.